G'day and welcome to another episode. My name is Daethstro, the Aussie Geek, and today we will be looking at quite a few bots all in one. We have MP13, Soundwave, and Laserbeak. We have I'm looking at some of the boxes, MP15, Frenzy, and Ravage, which is currently in here, as well as MP16, Rumble, who's in there, and Buzzsaw. So, I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I've been doing a lot of, quite a few chug mainlines, so I thought let's do something quite over the top and with a lot of accessories. Now, I will point out that, unfortunately, due to an incident some time ago in my shed, that I lost the majority of Soundwave's box. This, of course, also led on to the fact that the instructions inside the box were gone too. So I have no instructions for this guy. I have barely a box for this guy. I do have some of his accessories, but one accessory I'll get to in a minute. We do have his cards. So we have Soundwave card. We have a Laserbeak card, which is Condor. We have an Energon cube that's white, very reminiscent of when they come out of Soundwave's chest. We have this, which is a sort of schematic holder, and that brings us to the accessory that I've pretty much lost. So what you could do is, on the back of the instructions, there was a couple of pictures, and if I can find the pictures, I'll post them in the description. But what you could do is you could photocopy them, print them, and put them in here. So you could put that on there, put the instructions inside it, and it go through. Now, I don't think you can actually pull this off, but then you take this too, and there was a cutout that was purple like the Energon color, and you take that off, you pluck that off there, and now he's making Energon cubes. So yeah, so that part of my accessories is long gone. I haven't got the printout that goes inside the Energon cube, or the printout that actually showed the battle cruiser that they were building in the first episode of technically third episode of G1. So that is lost to me, unfortunately. Now, we do have quite a few of these. This is a cassette cover. Open that up, slide your cassette in. Really helpful the right way around. And for some reason, you don't want to line up for me. There's probably another figures, that's why. I'm sort of sitting on this. I'm wondering if Laserbeak has a... Yeah, Laserbeak, actually. We'll use Buzzsaw for this. Is it going to fit? Not really. Might have to just put it in and just close it up. Can that work? Yep, that works. So there we go. So there's Buzzsaw and a cassette. And to show a comparison here, here's one of my own cassettes. Creedence Clearwater Revival, the Ultimate Collection, as it says. 1990 released. Yes, I'm quite a bit old. But there we go. So pretty much the same thing. We can fold that out. Now, of course, you would stick here, but take that out. Excuse me. Open that up. Pull this out. There you go. Same thing, just very much smaller. Would I chance listening to this today? No, because I have no cassette players, and B, I'm pretty sure that would snap. But that's beside the point. And there's a couple of other accessories we will look at a little bit later. So, as for Soundwaves, he does have a couple of nice features in this mode. You can hit this button, and we can get Laserbeak out. And Ravage and Rumble's in there too, but if you come back here, and I would admit you've got all this big gap, so you don't want to be looking at this from the back. If you press this button, it should, I think it's this button, yeah, push it down. It will push one of the cassettes forward. Do it again. Actually, don't tell me you're stuck, Rumble. I think I might have Rumble stuck. Come on, Rumble, don't be a pain. I'm so going to have to fiddle with this. It should, leaning forward, but I'm thinking I've actually got him a little stuck. Oh, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get him out of there. Well, almost. Come on. Now I'm pushing his head back. That way, got him. Alright, so maybe don't do that too many times, but I don't know how well you can see it. But there is a groove back here, and you push it, and it will slide back twice. And then you push forward, and it's supposed to bring them forward, but for whatever reason, Rumble decided to get stuck. Now, let me get this out of the way too. Rumble, Frenzy. Rumble, Frenzy. Not Frenzy. Not Rumble. Don't care that they were the original names for the characters. Frenzy. Rumble. Alright, and we'll get into some accessory of those in a minute. Alright, so we might as well go through a few more details here. We have some knob here that slightly works. That could be volume. That's something else. I'm not quite sure. We have a whole bunch of thingamajigamajiggers on that side. I think one of these would be your audio port, and I'm sure it's probably batteries or something like that. Of course, these also are your batteries. Yeah, so just pressing that forward opens that up. Oh, that could be your audio plug too. I was going to go looking for a Walkman, but I don't think I have any left. The light button doesn't do nothing, but you can press in the rewind and fast forward button. These buttons don't really do anything. So there we go. So we'll get down to Soundwave in a minute. But let's do his cassettes first. Now I admit, I looked up, MP14 was Red Alert, ironically. So I had a look for Sound Blaster, which was the Headmaster's version of Soundwave, just like Blaster got upgraded. And he comes with Ratbat. So one of these days I'm going to scour eBay for Ratbat, because I would like to finish my cassette collection. So there we go. So let's start with Frenzy. Transformation is pretty simple for the most part, even though I had fun trying to remember how all this transformed. So you're going to flip these out, flip this out, pull all this out. Just be careful you don't pull too hard. Flip down that, there's your foot, rotate it this way so it's pointing the right direction. Same on that one. Pull out, flip down like so. You can then fold these out, fold this out. Oh, that's what I should have done. You can reach in here if your nails are good enough, which I've trimmed mine recently, so it's going to be a pain in the butt. This is where I really need. I might try one of these blasters. Did I get it out much? I don't think I did. It's a little tight. I don't even think my parts. Well, yeah, here we go. We'll just bend his elbow a little bit. See if I can. There we go. Get that in there. Bend his elbow a little bit that way, so we might be able to get in there, like so. And then, of course, we come back here. Try to flip his head up. This is what I get for doing my nails. Flip that up, rotate that around, and there is Frenzy. Try to make sure all those joints are extended properly. And there is Frenzy in his robot mode. Can't see a lot. There we go. He does look nice and shiny with his chest piece. He's a little hollow, but what can you do at this scale? And of course, then we can do the same thing with Rumble. So lift, pull out as far as it'll go. Hopefully Rumble will be a little bit easier for me. Trying to get those hands out. Flip these out. Make sure the legs are all extended. Flip out those arms as far as they'll go. As far as they'll go. And now I'm going to use the same technique again. Me. There you go. It's one hand. And Hemi. Thank God there's no, I don't think there's any paint on his hands, so I don't think I have to worry about paint chipping, thankfully. Come back here. Pop that up. Come on. Why is your head so tight? There you go, wrap that around. And there is Rumble in his robot mode. So we'll take a quick look at these guys together. They do look nice, as long as the camera focuses. Yeah, so it is nice to have both of them. So if you have only one or the other, I'm sure it's infuriating. I'm curious how Fans Toys are going to look, because I think they did Soundwave and Ravage, was it? I think. So yeah. Now, there is some accessories with these guys. We'll put Frenzy aside. They do come with, once I fiddle with everything, because I've got accessories everywhere. They do come with, whoop, that's Frenzies. 1, 2. So we get 2 blasters. And he can hold these. You can fold these down and plug it into his hand. And that way he can shoot. You can, of course, do the more traditional and fiddle with it until you can get it into his audio hole. So that way you have the, oops, I got that on the wrong side. I thought I was putting that on the wrong spot. Yep, there. So you can have that classic over shoulder look, which you can do. Now apparently these do fit inside Soundwave's leg, his foot, but I haven't quite figured out how to do it properly. So one of these days I might actually Google it, but I don't really use that web storage. Oh, I'm using the wrong pin, that's why. So like so. And of course you can give more for the sake for Rumble, less so for Frenzy. But you can get his pile drivers. Now, these can clip onto the side of Soundwave's arms, which I'll show in a minute. But you pull them out, put that aside, and then you somewhat specifically transform Rumble or Frenzy. So you basically fold his arms. You want to bend his elbows and straighten them out. So he's going to do sort of a L pose. Oops, yeah, pushing his hand the right way. Now, I will say that while these do look good, and this is usually how I have them displayed, these don't hold on. There's nothing really tabbing on these. So you can pull out the pile drivers like so. And all you're going to do is you're going to shove the hand up inside the hole and up. But there's nothing, at least nothing I've found, that really grips the arm. Even if I do it the other way, I don't think it's going to make much difference. So it just sort of sits on his arm. So if you knock this guy over, the pile drivers are probably going to fall off. You of course can get him in all manner of poses to make it look like he's using them, but yeah, it is what it is. As for articulation, we'll use Frenzy for this. In a bit, so head, can do a full 360. I can do a full 360, can go out that far. Use that transformation joint, you can get up that far. Single bicep. No bicep rotation. Hand doesn't move unless you use that transformation joint for inwards, if that's something you want to use. No waist swivel. Ball jointed hip. So your leg can go up that far. Can't get it? No. Sort of goes forward about that far. Back that far. Obviously ball joint rotation. You can, I suppose. Well, if you can try to get the top, see if I can get it. If you can get this pin going, you can get his actual leg forward. So it sort of gets you that far, and if you can get it, it will go back that far. He has, technically, I suppose you could call it a double jointed knee using transformation and the pin. So there's that. Of course, you can use that how you want. Ball joint at the heel, so that gets you sort of rotate up all the way for transformation. Doesn't really go back, and I don't think there is a slight ankle tilt, just slight. So there's that. So if we get this guy situated properly, because now I think one of his knees are in the wrong spot. Like so. And then we can bring Rumble back in. Oops. Like so. Whoops. Can't even see either of those. Try that again. Here we have, for a size comparison, here he is with KFC's Rewind. So there we go. So they might be, oops, roughly about the same height. So as for final accessories for these two, of course, you do have cards. Here's Frenzies and Ravages. So there's that, and of course you have Rumble and Buzzsaws, which this, obviously I've worked out one of them, I don't need to pull open the other one. So there we go, so there's those two. Alright, let's get down to the last of our cassettes. Let's get down to Ravage, who, admittedly, when this was built, I'm sure this was one of the sort of peaks to the technology, but the limitation, there is limits in this, and there's a couple of instabilities that I wish was different, but it is what it is. So first things first, as you can see, there's a huge bunch of gap back there. You're going to unpeg here, because it's just sort of there's a port there and a tab on the back. This is sort of one of them that's very loose on that paw. Fold that out like so. Then what we're going to do is we're going to bring this piece up and bring this piece up, so that forms us our head. We're going to, what are we doing next? We're going to flip out the leg, other side, and then just sort of, this piece just sits in here. You're going to flip this back and flip this back, but before we go all the way, we're going to flip this piece out, which forms his tail. Tab those together, rotate this down, move his paws to the forward, even though they'll probably move. We're going to use a ball joint to rotate that, and where is it? There should be, and there's a sort of a bicep swivel that gets his front paw. So rotate down, so you have these, and then carefully rotate there. And there's Ravage, all transformed. I think I actually might bring this camera down. Apologies for motion sickness. Just figuring out which knob I want to turn. That didn't sound too good. There we go. Should have done this with Rumble and Frenzy. But yeah, so there is Ravage, all transformed. And like I said, there are a lot of... It could have just been my copy, but yeah, he isn't too stable. His nose got a giant gap there. No real way to fix that. Jaw doesn't move or anything, it's stuck where it is. Oops, sorry, I've really got to take my braces off doing these. Here's a little bit of red paint in his eyes to show that he isn't completely dead, but I don't think you can see it very well. So there we go. So I'll do a size comparison with all the other cassettes afterwards. But as for articulation, his head can't do nothing, can't swivel, can't turn, can't spin. It's just split, so it does a Resident Evil. Front legs can do a full 360. They go out that far. He actually does have bicep rotation, but that's more for the transformation. Legs can go forward, well, if you really want to go with it, legs can go forward that far, but bicep rotation gets you that far, so you can, I suppose, if you really wanted to, you could have him sort of kneeling down suppose, sort of thing. Paws can go up and down, but they're really loose, and I mean really loose. And it's got nothing to do with how old mine is either. Back legs can do a full 360, although things start getting in the way. Legs can go way up, can go forward, can go back. It's got 2 pins here, so you can also use that joint if you want. And goes back, and of course paws go either way. And I suppose if you really want to, you got a little wiggle at the tail. So no additional things go on this guy. Ravage is what Ravage is. Alright. Buzzsaw and Laserbeak. Now, for those of you who are not aware, Buzzsaw was originally Soundwave's actual cassette that he was originally packaged with, even though Laserbeak became more famous. So let's do Buzzsaw first. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is going to come under here and try to get onto his beak. So I'll flip that out. You're going to come under here and you're going to get these wings out and just flip them all the way up. Try to get that other one. There we go. Alright, then we're going to lift these up, which is the back sort of laser thingamajiggies, thrusters. We can flip up this piece and this piece. So I hope you're actually seeing that, and I'm not hiding half of it. I'll be sure to do Laserbeak a bit better. Flip his feet down and rotate them forward, down and forward. Flip his wings back till they sort of kind of tab in, and there is Buzzsaw. So one down. Then we can do Laserbeak, the more famous, along with Rumble. So try to get your fingernail in there the best you can. There we go, I got him. Come out, same deal. Come under here, up onto his wings, lift them up. Oops, come here. We're going to then flip these up, that one as well, and just straighten up his tail fins. Flip down and around, flip back, and flip back. And there is Laserbeak all transformed. Now, of course, he has the same articulation as Buzzsaw, so we're just going to put Buzzsaw away for the time being. But he does have a bit of articulation, and he also has one feature that I don't know if I'll get it, but I'll try it. So if you come to the top of his head, I've got a bit of it up, he does have, if I can focus it, come on, he does have his camera, which he uses to spy on Autobots. So there's that. Buzzsaw has the same thing. As for articulation, he can lift his head up and you can actually crook his neck. It goes that far down and doesn't really go up any further. His neck can go back using the transformation joint. He can, I'm trying to remember how this works. You do have the bend here. You have an additional bend there. So one here, one here. Might be just the way the transformation, yeah. From in there I thought for some reason this would bend, but then the transformation wouldn't work. His legs can go back, go forward, twist down here. Of course you can move these if you want to angle them differently, and move those if you want to angle those differently. So there we go. So there is, oh, actually, you know what? I'll just do this way. So there's Laserbeak. There's Buzzsaw. There's Ravage. If I can get his legs straightened up a bit. Like I said, stability is not this guy's friend. Whoops. Get him in place and generally just leave him there. See if I can focus that a bit. And we'll just bring in rewind. So there you are, by comparison. Alright. Now the main event. Soundwave. So let's get the camera up a little bit. Sorry once again for the motion sickness. Hopefully that's enough. And let's get this guy down to transformation. So first things first, we need to get this undone. So you're going to slide the whole thing down. It might be a little bit of an effort, but it will come down. There we go. Like so. And that's going to free all this. So we'll just pull that forward a little bit. All right, so next we're going to work on the legs. So we're going to flip this piece down here, which will free all this, and pull that all the way back. We're then going to unplug this from here, so that way the foot can come up. We're then going to untab here, like so, and then you're going to pull all this out. Now, when you're transforming this guy back, you have to press this button in, which will release the knee so you can slide it back in again. All right, so bring that down. We want to keep that white piece to the back and rotate his leg forward. I won't lie, this guy does have some like weird joints. All right, so then this is going to flip down here. And that's just going to sit sort of sideways. We're going to flip the foot up. And there we go. We have one leg done. And just to get it out of the way, where is it? If you flip this piece out here, see if I can get it. Yep, this way. That's where you're supposed to store Rumble and Frenzy's guns, but I don't know if only one fits or what, but I'm not chancing it and getting it stuck. So that's going to stay where it is. Alright, so same with the other side. And untab here. Whoops. Fold all that out. Untab that. Flip the foot up. Rotate the side, the leg out. Why are you giving me trouble? I think it's just tabbed in real well. And all it is this plug here tabs into here. Extend, rotate, rotate. A little awkward sometimes. Rotate. Straighten his foot up. Bring all this down. Rotate that around. And there we go. There is his legs all done. For the most part. I know he slightly seems unstable, but trust me, he's not. Alright, so we'll finish off the pelvis. You're going to flip, where is it? This down, this down. This is going to go between his legs. Slide it down as you do and press that in. This comes back and this all rotates up into here. So it clips onto his butt. So as long as everything's where it's supposed to be, that's all good. Now, all right, so the upper torso. We're going to flip this around. So this is going to tab into where the other one was. Don't know why I've got a bit of thing there. Never noticed it. That flips around. I think I've actually forgot to show a step. Where are you? See? Yeah, I think there's a tab on the back of these legs also, because there's a port here. Anyway, so rotate those out, flip these down. We can come to his hand, so none of this pulls out, except these pull out to the side, and then you fiddle with his hands and flip them in. We'll get back to those in a moment too. Flip that out. Flip that out. Like so. So we're almost there. I think I've activated a hinge there somewhere. Still come back here and you'll notice his battery packs. We're going to disconnect this one that just plugs into here. We can then rotate this up, spin it around like so, come down here, flip out his head, close that up, and voila, there is Soundwave all transformed. And he does look lovely. Now, I will admit, I prefer this guy over Fans Toys for a simple reason. I like the way this looks. I'm literally just looking at that that leg. I think I missed a step. Oh, I didn't miss a step. Anywho, I'm looking at something wrong. Anyway, as I was saying, Fans Toys did look good, but this guy looks better in my opinion. Now, honestly, if I had the choice between this guy and Fans Toys, if I couldn't get this guy, I would have gone for Fans Toys, personally. But I have this guy ready. I had no interest in Fans Toys whatsoever. Just looking at this piece of plastic here. I think it's just the way the chest is. Anyway, we do have a weapon storage, which is what this little thing is. And I'll see if I can do this without too difficultly. Separate here, flip out here. That gives us our handle, and then you want to try, preferably with nails or something else, and try not to get the chrome messed up. Pull all that out, and there we have his blaster, which I've forgotten what it's called. But before we get down to that, we will do our articulation. His head can do a full 360. It looks up that far, it looks down that far, can't go side to side. Arms can do a full 360, they come out this far. He also has this joint, if you want to use it. It's not a transformation joint or anything, it's just a joint. He has bicep rotation. He has double jointed elbow that gets you that far. He has typewriter fingers for the bottom three. He has independent finger pin here and here. Thumb does not move. And I just knocked this finger off. Fuck, bugger. I hope I didn't break that. No, it's just a, what's his name? Oh, I just got to slide it back in. So, just like my, ooh, that's going to be pressing my luck now. Come on, use that point. Yes. That joint's not getting used anymore. Anywho, he has waist rotation. He has no ab crunch. His leg goes that far forward, that far back, although now I'm using joints. You can probably fold this out, which is going to be weird, but that'll give you his leg all the way up there. But because of the back, it's not going any further. Unless you want to use some of these weird joints, and I suppose you could get it back that way somehow. But then you're starting to get into some weird things and showing off bolts and screws, I should say. He has hip rotation, thigh rotation. He has single joint knee to get you that far, but if you want to use a transformation joint, you can get it that far. So it is a little bit loose. He has ankle tilt that far. And of course, the ankle actually sticks out due to the way it transforms. You can get that far. If you want more on the other side, you have to start bending these things, and then you get it out that far. You can slide all this down again, and you don't really get the foot up very far. You do get it way down. So there is that. So he does look pretty damn good. No lights or anything like that. Oh, wrist rotation. Now he does have a few things. We can, on both sides, flip open these pieces, and we have speakers and whatnot. But we can also, where did I put it? So many accessories here. Here we go. We can, on either side, rotate his hand in, close that up, and we can put this thing in place, which has to do with one of the episodes that right now I'm not recalling on. So he's scanning for energon, I'm pretty sure. He can also, and comes with, where to put him? Gun mode Megatron. So he can wield Megatron, and all it is sort of put it in his hand like so. You can sort of articulate things. Nothing tabs in. There's no tab or anything. Now, I assume this guy is meant to be able to do two hands because you can sort of extend the handle, but I don't think his hands would fit. So he will hold Megatron. You know, it will probably, oh, he holds it fairly well. So it's really just these fingers for the most part and his thumb that's holding in, considering his thumb doesn't move. So there is that. And for the sake of accessories, you can pull Megatron apart if you just want him in his gun mode. So there is that. Does not transform any further than that. So just be aware of that. That's it. That's the whole of his transformation. Of course, you can move these around, angle that if you want, bring that down. Have it how you wish. As for his normal gun, and that does have the tab in the palm. Oh, hang on. No, from there I thought I missed a step, but no. That just tabs into the side of his hand, if you can find it. Where are you? I might have had it a little too far down. For some reason that seems really loose, which is funny because I usually, there we go. Just had to push it a little bit further, try not to break his fingers, and I think I just dislodged it anyway. There we go. So he can hold his weapon perfectly fine. Of course, you can also aim that, and of course it's cool that that becomes one of the batteries. So it is what it is. So there we go. Now he does have one additional, not necessarily accessory, but oh, that reminds me too. I mentioned before about these pieces. You can just plug on there, and you can have the pile drivers hanging down there. But he does have one additional thing that I absolutely love. So we'll take Laserbeak here, and you'll see these notches along here. Well, those notches along here and here are tabs for Laserbeak's feet, or Buzzsaws. So you can actually plug him on, and if you angle him just right, like you can move his legs a little bit. You can actually get him to sit. Looks a bit weird, halving off. You can have him sitting on Soundwave's shoulder, which is absolutely awesome. But I'm not done yet, because you can bring his arm out like this, and there's a slight transparent piece of plastic here. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see if I can, just right here. And that does exactly the same thing. So you can plug that right there, and now he's on Soundwave's arm. Now, the way I figure it with that other joint, it's basically doing it so you have more room to, say, situate, make Laserbeak look a little bit more, yeah. So you can have sort of out like that if you want to. But yeah, I just find that really cool that you can actually have Laserbeak sit on Soundwave's shoulder or arm. So yeah, normally I usually have Laserbeak on his shoulder. I have Buzzsaw sitting in front of him along with the others. But yeah, so that is pretty cool. So let's bring everybody in, and we can do the final size comparison as well. So bring this down a little bit. Not too far. Don't want to completely ruin it. So there's Soundwave, there's Laserbeak, there's Buzzsaw, there's Ravage, there's, and one of his pile drivers fallen off. Yeah, that was going to happen. There's Rumble. Whoop. He's a little wonky at the moment. Give me a quick half second because I went live. Frenzy does look a little naked. So there's Frenzy. I'll put his pile drivers back on later. And the final two size comparisons. here he is with KFC's blaster, who, I won't lie, right now I'm completely blanking on the name. Transistor? I think it was Transistor. I will put in somewhere here if I'm right. Pretty sure it's Transistor. So there's blaster. Last but not least, here he is with his leader, Megatron MP36. And even though the size doesn't look too bad, I think Soundwave should be a little bit taller. But it is what it is. So I really, really enjoy it. Now, no, there is no spots on Megatron that I have found where Laserbeak can, sit on his arm. I suppose you could balance it and use glue tack or whatever, but it is what it is. And of course, he could probably hold himself. You could probably get that to Megatron, to Optimus Prime if you want to do that scene, Starscream, blah, blah, blah. So there we go. So this has been quite the long one. I think this is the longest one I've ever done, well, considering now that I have no limitations anymore. So there we go. So if you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. I promise you it will not hurt my feelings. Subscribe, ring that bell, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of MP13. Whether you would have liked an MP13 or if you are perfectly happy with your Fans Toys, I can't remember what they called him, but hit the Fans Toy Soundwave, or even if you're perfectly happy with the Chug versions of Soundwave. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.